Hey guys, what's going on? Michael White here, your favorite developer, and today I'm going to be tackling one of the biggest questions that junior web developers have. Should I work at a tech startup? As a junior developer looking to cut their teeth and break into the industry, I personally think that startups offer both the most opportunity and the most experience. But it's a double-edged sword, all right, because it comes at a cost. Quick disclaimer, avoid any and all startups that are all work and no pay. Your time is valuable. Do not sacrifice your time working to achieve a company's goals for free. No matter what they tell you, how much experience they promise you, or referrals, whatever, it doesn't matter. If they're not paying you, you can find a better offer somewhere else. Don't let yourself be taken advantage of. Secondly, I accepted my first role as a web developer at a tech startup. So everything I'm going to say is coming from firsthand experience. It's not hearsay or speculation. This is what I've experienced working at a startup. And luckily, it's a pretty good startup. All right, now to get back to the question, should you work at a tech startup as a junior web developer? It depends. All right, it depends. So let me tell you the reasons not to first. I know I can save a lot of you guys some time that way. If you want stability in your career, don't do it. Chaos is a part of the startup nature. It is chaotic, all right? As your startup grows, it's going to start acquiring smaller companies. And with these acquisitions, there's going to be a lot of turnover, right? Because they're going to bring in a bunch of new people and they're going to have to filter some of them out. And this can lead to lapses in communication. You might have been working on something with somebody and then all of a sudden they're gone. And sometimes important things will just fall through and it will start a fire somewhere else later that somebody's going to have to put out. You just hope that somebody isn't you, right? There's a lot of role changes because people are always changing hats and moving around to different departments. Your project lead might change multiple times throughout the course of a project. The first project that I worked on at my company, I had 3 different project leads on it over like 2 months. The whole dynamic of a project changes when the project lead changes. How you guys communicate, how information gets passed, how you even talk to the client, all of that's going to be different with a different project lead. So it really changes the way you work. You're also going to find yourself in situations where you're working with other new people. It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that before, but when I started, my designer was part of a company that we acquired. So neither of us really knew how our new company did things, what the proper channel was, the proper procedures. So we just kind of winged it until we finished the site. And I mean, it worked. They liked the site, but that was interesting. We both had to figure things out together. And lastly, if you want to work 8 hours and just go home afterwards, that's probably not going to happen, which is going to transition us beautifully into the reasons why you should take an offer at a tech startup as a junior web developer. I'm going to start with the first and the most obvious, being the ridiculous amount of experience and opportunity that you're going to get. A good startup is going to be transparent with you about almost everything. Because, your livelihood hangs in the hands of the company being successful. So you want to see results. Everybody there wants to see results, good or bad. We want to know what's happening. And like I said, a good startup's going to be transparent with you guys and let you know what's going on. So you're going to get to learn about different facets of the company, things that you wouldn't normally be exposed to as a web developer. You're going to be working with different departments, talking to different people. You're not going to be wearing more hats per se, but you are going to be communicating with a lot of people. And that's not something I expected as a web developer. I thought I'd be given my mock-up, my draft. I thought I'd make that and then just turn it over and be done. But it's a lot more involved with that. I'm in meetings with the client, with our project lead, with our designers, with the whole team. And you really get to see what it takes to bring a project to life. Like every aspect of it almost. There's also a lot of work to go around. You see, as startups grow, you bring in more clients. So the workload grows, but your team can't grow as fast as the work is coming in. Or maybe my startup's just super hot right now, but that's what's happening. We got a nice project queue going on and our team is slowly growing, but more work's definitely coming in. So you're going to find yourself working on like multiple sites. Like if you want experience, you're going to get experience. But you remember that cost that I talked about earlier? So startups are always moving towards being structured. But during this transition of them being a startup with loose structure and trying to move to something more structured, things still happen, right? There's chaos all in between there. And this is going to lead to things needing to be done in very short amounts of time, all right? Like you're going to have projects due in very short windows of time, where if you work your 8 hours a day and you're done, you're not going to finish this project on time. That's the trade-off. So you will get this experience. you will get these new opportunities, but you're gonna have to sacrifice your time. For example, the project that I'm working on now, I got a mock-up for it back at the beginning of October, and the site was scheduled to launch last Wednesday, right? Plenty of time to get it done. Plenty of time to get it done. So I go on vacation at the end of October, and when I come back from vacation, the entire site has been redesigned on the mock-up. Everything was different about this site. Even the background was different. It was like the fonts, just everything about the site was different. And I only had 2 weeks to get it done. They wanted it done before Black Friday. So needless to say, the 8 hours a day that I was working on wasn't going to be enough to get it done. So I would start working at like 7 in the morning, sometimes 6:30, and then work till 6, sometimes 7. I was putting in, 11, 12-hour days for 2-3 weeks almost. And the site did launch on time. Granted, we had to hide some pages until I can fix a few things on them. You have to understand though, as a junior developer, you aren't the best yet. And they know that. That's why it's called a junior developer, right? So there's things you don't know. You're still developing, you're still growing, your skill set's still getting better. And there's things you haven't encountered yet. When you have a 2-week deadline like that, it takes you as a junior developer longer to solve those problems than it would if you were a senior developer, right? So you have to make up for that time somewhere. I just chose to do it 2 hours before my normal working time. So I don't know if I said this, but I'm salaried, by the way. So it's not like I even get paid for the extra time I put in, okay? I see how guys like Joshua Fluke come to be, though. I understand it now. I understand him a lot better because it kind of sucks when you put in all this extra time after work, you put in extra hours on the weekend, and you get this site out on time, then 3 months later, they redesign the whole site. It's like, whoa, I just wasted all my weekend, my free hours, for what? We're redesigning the site. Is it worth the sacrifice? And that's something you're going to have to ask yourself. Is the experience that you're getting worth the sacrifice of time? Right? I can't answer that question for you. It's going to vary. It depends on you, depends on your goals. But in my experience, that's the big trade-off at working at a startup. You're going to have to give up some extra time, but you'll get a ton of experience in return. So for me personally, it's a gain right now. It's a positive. I really do want the experience. So I'm just grinding my ass off. I don't see myself working like this for like 3 years. There's no way. There's no way I could keep this momentum up for like 3 years. But short term, I work this pace when I need to. And when things slow down and there's not a fire, we're not in crunch time, I go back to my 8 hours. This isn't like a consistent everyday thing. You get the overdrive Michael when it's crunch time. Not all the time. Otherwise, I'd just be burned out. But it can make you bitter. All right, so that's really something you need to take into consideration. That's probably the biggest thing, is how you feel about your time. Make sure you understand what you're sacrificing your time for, and just know you'll never get that time back. All right, so before you give up your nights and your weekends, just make sure you have a plan and make sure it fits within your goals. And please don't make that a forever thing, all right? Take time for you. So if you're somebody that just wants to get out there and get it, you're hungry, you want the opportunity, you want the experience, you know what you're gonna do with the experience, I say more power to you, man. Go to a startup, take it, run with it as far as you can, learn as much as you can, be hungry, ask questions, and grow. If you're somebody that wants more structure, especially in their first role, and kind of wants somebody to hold their hand and guide them, it might take you longer to find a position like that, especially with no experience. It's going to be harder, but you can do it. It's not impossible. It will take longer. You'll have to be creative, but you can do it, and it'll be a more stable environment, which I think is another way to learn. You might not learn as much as fast, but you probably won't develop as many bad habits either, all right? So it's a trade-off. I highly recommend the startup, though, if you're down for some chaos and disorder. It's fun. It's a good time. I don't like monotony. So go figure. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up there. Hopefully you guys could learn something from this video and I shared something of value for you guys that could help you out. And if you want to join a community of like-minded people, feel free to join my community Discord. We're all learning, coding, and growing over there. I'll have a link posted down to that below. And how do you guys feel about working at a startup as a junior developer? Let me know down in the comments below. I really want to hear your opinions on that. And I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Peace.